Which brings me to an interesting question. This is a question, Mr. Bhatt, that has had a fascinating effect on me for the last 14 years, I must say. And the answers I've discovered in response to this question, to from myself as well as all the people I've interacted with so far, are amazing, amazing answers. You've been on the board of the Great Manager Institute as well, and there many years back, I had the occasion of interviewing Ashwin Srivastava.
Mm.
His response to this question was phenomenal. I mean, it was simple and profound to its extreme. And that's a question I want to ask you as well. And this is a question that actually Gallup came out with back in 2007 and 8 when they were doing a research on a particular kind of leadership called strengths-based leadership. So,
Mm.
being a hardcore strength psychology person, that's where I come from. So the question is this: who's your favorite non-political, non-religious leader who's had the most positive influence on you?
Non-political, non-religious, you said, right? Well, both of those are not very big in my life. So anybody that I pick will be uh, in this will be the right answer. I'm just trying to think um, who's had the most positive influence on me. I would say Ratan Tata, actually. Um, Maybe if you'd asked me like 10, 12 years ago, I may not have known enough about him, or my own ethos around who I am and what I like hadn't formed as strongly as they have in the recent decade. But in that decade, I feel like the strongest identification I have towards, and I'll tell you why I say Ratan Tata as well, right? I think one, I'm a strong believer in people who have big aims to change the world. And I think definitely by all accounts, Mr. Tata did. He was indefatigable in that sense, in constantly trying to push the boundary of what was possible. And I think that sense of wanting to live life at its fullest and like being the kind of person who deeply, madly cares about everything, I think that I've seen as a trait that really distinguishes great people from ordinary people. They really deeply, madly care, whatever it is that they're doing. They care enough where it's not ennui that personifies them, but it's actually deep involvement and engagement. And I've found that such people actually live healthier, better lives also when they are that deeply interested in something, in anything. And Mr. Tata had many things that, from what I've read about him, and I unfortunately did not have the pleasure of ever meeting him. Privilege, I would say it would have been. That's one. The second is, I think most people with where life has given them so much in every way, right? You're born to privilege. You're also born with extraordinary intellectual abilities and a way to use that. You develop a sense of self which is grander than it should be. And it's actually very unusual for somebody to not be like that. Mr. Tata was definitely not like that. He never carried himself with any sense of grandeur. He always carried his own bag wherever he went. He never allowed, like, his kindness to animals. All of these, when I look at it, I feel like when I grow up, I want to be like that person. And I want to be the kind of person that people will first say, above everything, this person was a nice person. Like they were deeply a kind human being, right? Like if that is not there, it doesn't matter for me. That is one, like, that's non-negotiable. If somebody is not kind, I don't like them. That's it, right? So I think Mr. Tata was not only kind, he had so many other things, and he did it without any expectation of being in the spotlight, never craved any kind of kudos or adulation or anything like that. I think those qualities I truly admire. Another person, maybe he hasn't achieved as much on the in life as Mr. Tata has, but he has similar qualities, is Rahul Dravid. I just absolutely adore him. I think he's amazing. uh, he's so wonderfully good at what he does, among the best, I mean, to have walked the earth at what he does. But he never goes around tom-tomming himself, is gracious enough to refuse a degree when it is conferred upon him, when he feels it is not deserved, while others would just be happy to bask in all that glory and say, yes, give, bring it on, right? And he shares his winnings with the ground staff and all the others. Like, I think the world needs such people to be hero worshipped. These are qualities that we should be telling our kids that they should be looking at and learning from. Rafa Nadal, another one. I'm a big Federer fan, but the human being Rafa is, I absolutely adore. I think he's a wonderful person, wonderful example of what a great sports person and a great human being should be like, right? And that's why I feel like Mr. Tata has probably is the most positive person that I have encountered.
I asked for one, you gave me three.
Yeah.
No, no, I completely. I mean, I was getting goosebumps as you were talking about Mr. Tata and then Rahul Dravid. And when you use the word indefatigable, the image that came to my mind, I think, which will never erase from my mind, is that image of him standing outside the Taj Hotel during the 26/11 days. There was no shock, there was no despair, there was no sadness. There was just this, if I could use that term, icy cold look on his face, looking at, okay, this is happening. What do we do next?
Yeah.
What do we do next? And I think the world would not have gotten to know this had it not been for a story that the Week magazine did about 2 years later, sometime in October 2010, when I just accidentally happened to come across it. And it's a story I've quoted in my sessions so many times. When the Week said that after that carnage took place, the Tata groups worked with the Tata Institute of Social Sciences. They sent out their social workers across Mumbai to document everybody who was affected by that incident. They silently paid for the hospital treatment of all the people. And what they also did was that they offered an invitation to the waiters at the Leopold Cafe to get trained by the Taj Group, right? Even as the Taj Group was rebuilding the iconic hotel, and once the Taj Group reopened, many of those waiters got a job in the Japanese restaurant there, Wasabi.
Oh.
Who would think like that? And in that sense, I'm getting goosebumps that what you said is an absolute example of kindness, without having to operate from an external frame of reference to see, what am I going to get in return for this?
And no hoopla, no seeking press validation, nothing. Like, it's the right thing to do. We will do it, and nobody needs to know about it. Nobody needs to give us any congratulations or kudos for it. It's amazing. Yeah,
And it's the same thing I saw in the way you described your father. And that's why I said he's also a great example of,
yes,
operating from an internal frame of reference and sorting by others, serving others first kind of a mindset. So I think in that sense, when I look back, Mr. Bhatt, I should not be surprised at the two examples you took about your
yeah.
father as well as about Mr. Tata and also Rahul Dravid for that matter. Um, in what you said, I think I've already got an answer to one of my later questions that I have for you, which will come towards the end, which I'm not sure I'll be able to cover this time.